Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pathway to Glory and the Boxing Corner. John Foster. We're here to talk about a fight that I was a little bit involved with the training, and Lou Duva and Georgie Benson when they were coaching up Mike McCallum, the middleweight champion of the world, when he fought Donald Curry. This is a fight that I really have not a whole lot to do, but I know a lot behind the scenes on it because I was around the training here in Houston, Texas, actually Pasadena, in the old Kenny Wellens gym, which, in talking to our friend Mr. Termite Watkins, has that gym that I'm going to be talking about the fight in his gym. And we're going to visit that gym sometime soon. So stay tuned to Pathway to Glory and Boxing Corner as we visit the old gym that I'm going to talk about. Mike McCallum training with Donald Curry. Or he didn't train, he fought Donald Curry in Vegas. I didn't go to Vegas for that fight. But years ago, back in 1987, my old boxing trainer, Tommy Bonetta, who also coached Mike McCallum through his years in Miami, Florida, trained him as a kid and right up through his professional years. And then Mike finally got the big fight. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Mike McCallum was already a well-known fighter. And he was in the middle of when boxing was it was the glory days of boxing. Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns. It was loaded with fighters. You know, great middle that 145, 150 pound class, which would have been probably my fighting weight. Man, I would have killer Duran. You know, although these guys moved up. Well, Mike McCallum and Donald Curry. Wow. It really turned out well for Mike. He won his first title. Sugar Ray and these guys didn't want to mess with Mike. There was no money there to fight Mike McCallum. And years later, working for Dundee, I found out, just watched them negotiate with other fighters when we'll take a fight, how we'll take a fight, what kind of ring size to have a fight in is important. If your boxer's a mover and you don't want to get into a small ring with him. If he's not a good mover, you want a smaller ring. So all these things are negotiated. When we'll take the fight? No, we need another year. Rick Mandris. I remember being in his office one time and Rick's talking to the guy. No, we won't take that fight right now, but call me a year from now. We'll be ready for him. And being in Chicago for a fight one time, Rick turns to me. It's just Rick Mandris and myself. I mean, I'm the spit bucket boy. Trust me. Rick's doing all the calls here. And Angelo wasn't at this fight. And there was 3 pro fights that we had with the Swedish fighters we were training. And Rory was in there. He's like 170 pound class, big hitter. And he wasn't happy. Rory knocks the guy down in the first round. The guy's tackling him. I don't know how many of you have gone out and seen professional fights live that weren't the big pay-per-view fights, but they were professional fights. There's things that go on that you don't see every day on CBS for the main fight and those type of fights. Guy was tackling him for a full round and a half, 2 rounds, just tackling him. Rick turns to me and says, "I didn't know this guy was that good. He's a survivor." And then because once it goes past the 5th round, it was only an 8-round fight. It's in anybody, one shot could end it for you. And the ref got a bad start when he knocked him down in the first round. It took him like 5-6 seconds before he started counting the guy. He should have been out. Rick was hyped up and mad about that, Anyway, let's talk about the Mike McCallum fight. And McCallum Curry. It's the first time Mike McCallum gets a shot at the world championship title. And he meets Donald Curry in Vegas. The training consisted of coming here to Houston, Texas, and hooking up with Lou Duva and Georgie Benson to be in his corner and get this world title fight. So Tommy flew into town. I was living here already. And so when Tom came in, he was my ex-boxing coach. And, I was hanging out with him in this closed ring in Pasadena, Kenny Wellens gym, with Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, 2 gold medal winners. In fact, I was playing hoops with these guys. I was bringing them down to the Charlie Club here in Houston, throwing hoops. They're like, "Who are you?" They're with me, and going out to nightclubs. Not with those guys, but with no, those guys weren't going out. They were all preparing for fights. Denny Pazienza, but with the guys that were in town, they're sparring partners. Let's say. Well, Mike had 3 sparring partners in town. When you have a sparring partner, a lot of times you want to match it up with somebody. Like Curry was a lefty, so they had to be lefties, and kind of try to fight the style that Curry's going to bring to him. You want to emulate that in your training for a fight and know what's coming. So Lou comes in, he wants to see him go 15 rounds. And this is back in the day when 15 rounds was the norm. Now it's illegal. They finally banned it. And I know why. After this day, 5 rounds, 3 different fighters. It's crazy. You go 5 rounds with a guy and then you get a fresh guy for the 6th round. You go 5 rounds with him and you get a fresh guy for rounds 11 through 15. And Lou wants to see him do 15 rounds and make sure he's in shape. Well, Mike does his work. He's in shape for this. I've never seen somebody sweat so much when he got done with those rounds. Well, here's the story on it. I got a good story for you. You're going to like this, the pre-fight up to it. And it's interesting. So the first day, Lou comes into town. We go down to the gym. Mike's sparring with these guys. He wants to see him go with all 3 fighters, 5 rounds, like I said. And Tom's like really upset. Tommy's standing here. We're both sitting there looking up at the ring and watching him, looking at Tom, and Tom's, like not happy with what Mike's doing. Now, he trained Mike McCallum, Tommy Bonetta, trained Mike McCallum as an amateur, and, still consulted with him through his pro career every fight. And they talked all the time. So Tommy was still a big part of Mike's training and his thought process and pre-fight everything, so he was there for this. And they're going. Well, anyhow, that evening we meet. We're staying at the Holiday Inn across from Tim Hallmark's workout, etc. Tim Hallmark is the guy that you see in every fight with Evander Holyfield. And he's a personal trainer. And I think Evander, he took him away from all that. And he was his personal trainer. Don't blame him. Tim's a step up. I was pursuing a professional tennis career at the time. I wasn't boxing anymore. And but Tim was, consulting with me and at his gym, and just a master. When I had my arms hurt, here, take this and then do this. And it was better. I mean, there's just a little bit of time I spent with Tim Hallmark. I saw the excellence and the superior knowledge of taking care of your body and how to repair things and how to train. So workout, etc. 1987, Tim Hallmark's gym. We're across the street in the Holiday Inn here in Houston, Texas. And with Lou Duva, Georgie Benson. And it was in July. I went out to dinner with me driving and Lou Duva and Georgie Benson in the back and Tommy Bonetta. And on my birthday, July 9th, 1987, here in Houston. Interesting. Tommy was a kid. Lou's jabbing at me and I'm throwing it right back at him. And Tommy's like, he's not taking it. It was fun. It was really good. And hanging out with all these guys, going in the hotel. Used to park my little $5,000 car in front of the hotel, and he's with us. And, nobody messed with it. So we sit down with Mike after the 5 rounds of 15 rounds. Sorry, Mike's sweating. Like I said, it's a myth. It's like running a marathon, I guess. It's ridiculous what your body goes through. So he was just wiped out. And Tommy says to him, why were you getting hit with all these left hands? What's up? Why? These amateurs, they hit you with 5 left hands each. And if you do that, you're going to lose this fight with one of Donald Curry's left hands, okay? And so Mike was really, and he said, well, why are you doing that? What's going on? He says, well, he told me, Lou's telling me what to do and how to fight and what to do there. Tommy's like, okay. Says, okay, then here's the game plan. I want you to listen to Lou, but after all these years, when you have your fight, and this is your big fight, listen to Lou. And when the fight comes, you got to do your fight. You got to fight the way what got you there. So that was what I was there and I heard. So if you watch the fight, so it only goes 5 rounds. Mike said, asked Mike afterwards, well, when did you know? When did you know you had him? He said, I knew I had him in the 3rd round when I'd move in and he'd make this move and then I'd step in with him. And it took me like 2 rounds to set it up for that punch. And if you see this punch, it's one of the cleanest left hooks you could get right on the button. But he set it up. You got to understand boxing. You watch the fight; it's a good fight. And Donald Curry, a true champion, and he didn't even know. They talked to Donald Curry after the fight, and he didn't know where he's at or what happened. It just was lights out. And Mike, like I said, you watch the fight; it's pretty even up. I mean, these guys are going back and forth. But Mike has a setup since the 3rd round to lay this left hook in on him. And you can watch a little bit in there. You watch him, he'll reach up and kind of paw him with his left hand, paw him. But he's not throwing it all in there. He's kind of waiting for the right time where he set it up and the guy makes the move. And what it was, he'd come, with his right and then step in. He'd throw the right and then step in. Donald would move away. He'd move with him. And then Donald didn't realize he was that close. When he'd move away, and Mike would step with him. And it's not something new to boxing. That's how you do it. You watch Mike Tyson, he's unbelievable at that. Where does he get his power? He gets his power because he keeps his weight right over his legs. When they move away, you move in with both legs and you set your balance up. And if a fighter's not careful and they allow you to do that, now you got your power zone right where the punch is going to land, and that's the ticket. So yeah, he laid it on him and really popped him. And I'd recommend you look up that fight. I watched it again for the first time in a long time the other night, and it goes by quick. And you won't see such a clean hit where somebody is out in the 5th round. And watch Donald Curry's makeup. But that's one of my favorite fights. What we'd like to know here at Boxing Corner is what's your favorite fight? And I have a lot of that's because I was involved in that fight. Really, my favorite fight, we'll talk about that another time, is Thomas Hearns. And everybody would say Thomas Hearns, Hitman Hearns, and Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, a lot of people think that and I don't disagree, that was Thomas Hearns and Hagler. Man, those guys were killing each other. But I believe with the Sugar Ray fight and the Hearns fight, I mean, these guys knocked each other down once or twice each. It's like the Rocky match where he knocks him down, he knocks the other guy down. You don't see that type of stuff. So I think it was unbelievable. You got to watch that fight. And we'll talk about that fight another time and how great Sugar Ray was. And then Boxing Corner, remember, look us up. Every Friday, we're going to premiere these fights, and we'd like to hear from you. So let's hear from you guys. What's your favorite fight? I know, and I'll name a couple others that maybe it's before your time. I was in my bed listening to the fight. A guy named Muhammad Ali is fighting Joe Frazier. Rumble in the Jungle, and that's the one that Joe Frazier beat him. I was a big Joe Frazier fan at the time, and that's that just got me into boxing, where you got the boxer bobbing and weaving and the fighter coming in, the brawler, but Joe was a smart brawler, man. He'd work his way in, and then Ali was the perfect boxer trying to get out of the way, and both those guys landing it on each other. Frazier, Ali talks about it, the toughest guy I ever met, because he hit Joe with the house, everything. And Joe just kept coming. There was no backing Joe Frazier off. And I'll get one more thing before I sign off on Boxing Corner. Tommy Bennett, I got to give him credit for this. Just like he said in the 1970s, Johnny, you know what the future of boxing is? No, Tom, what's the future of boxing? He says, women boxing. Women boxing? No way. In the 70s, you didn't even hear about 2 women fighting each other. It didn't happen. Okay? Look at today. It's one of the best, the most entertaining thing you can see. Those women are tough, and women can take pain just like guys. But I think women, when you give birth to children, that's tougher than any guy can do, right? Or would want to do. Anyway, Boxing Corner, glad you're watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Look at that match with Mike McCallum and Donald Curry in Vegas, 1987. I think you'll be happy. And then check out a few more and tell me what your favorite fight is, okay? Pathway to Glory, John Foster. Have a great night or a great day, whatever it is, and see you next time.